Do you know the Dave Darren Show? He used to be on terrestrial radio, but he got fired.
Here comes the boss fella now.
Dave Darren.
Last night I was on the thread. I was checking out, just looking online, and I saw someone make this comment. Let's stick my glasses on. And the comment was, when I posted it in text, I actually blocked out the explicit words, but I'll read it as it was written. Someone wrote, "What the fuck is wrong with Christians and other religions that feel they need to say being gay is a sin? It is not. It is called bigotry." It is. Let me start all over. Say I'm uptight now since my video was freezing up. So now let me get back into it. This is what someone posted. "What the fuck is wrong with Christians and other religions that feel the need to say being gay is a sin? It is not. It is called biology. You stupid fucks. It's a sin to be a bigot. You pieces of shit." So that's what this person says. So obviously, that was kind of a hostile comment. You know what? If you're angry, cool down a bit before you post shit on Facebook. That's a little bit of advice to you. If you're angry, grab a Coke, grab a beer, grab some wine, have a piece of cheesecake, and mellow out before you post things that are so angry and so hostile. Okay, so I replied to him. First of all, it started off, I had no idea what the real topic was. This was kind of a subplot. So I kind of responded to him and I said, I'm curious about this. He says and he claims that being gay is 100% biological, all right? And this came to be after a couple comments that I made saying, is it truly 100% biological? Is it truly, being gay, is it 100% biological? Now, I didn't really make any comments about it being a sin depending on your belief in God or depending on what you feel about religion or the Bible or your belief system, whatever it is. I wasn't making commentary about it being a sin. However, I don't really think it's a sin. I mean, there's a whole lot of worse things going on this planet, so that when we meet our maker, if you believe there's a maker, if we're going to be called a sinner because we decided we like guys better than girls, or if you're a girl, you like girls better than guys, if that's going to be a sin that's going to be held against you, that's pretty pathetic, to be quite honest with you. It really is. But my commentary was mostly about, it was about the science behind it, science about being gay. Now, my brother is. So now I don't judge my brother, and I was just curious about his perception that is all biologically defined. And if you think about it, what is 100% today? What can you say is 100%? I wrote down a couple of things here. Waking up in the morning, is it 100% that you're going to be able to wake up every single morning? Is it 100% that you'll be able to wake up tomorrow morning? Absolutely not. When you get in your car, even if your car is brand new and you just picked it up at a dealer yesterday, is it 100% sure that it's going to start up today? Is it 100%? Absolutely not. The only thing that's 100% is that you're going to die. And in reality, is it 100% that you're going to die? Because some people believe in the afterlife. Some people believe in reincarnation. Some people believe that there's aliens. If an alien lands on the planet, maybe he'll have a cure for every single disease, and he'll have a way of making your life immortal. So is death even 100% a reality? I'm not even sure about that. So how can we really, really say, in all sincerity, and this is my point that I was making with the guy, how could you possibly say that it's 100% biological? I mean, there may be a situation where the guy or the guy or girl wants to be different. So you see a lot of people with tattoos or long hair that I've got, and wearing the crazy clothes that I wear. We want to be different. I don't drive a car that's even normal. I want to be different. Maybe a person wants to be different just for this perspective that they're a guy and they want to date a guy, or they're a girl, they want to date a girl. And that's their way of being different or defiant. Now, isn't that a possibility? I probably believe that the overwhelming percentage of people that are gay are probably biologically driven to be that way. But is it 100%? And that's the point I was trying to make. And the guy was getting angry. He was really getting hostile towards me. So then what happened is his wife came on the same thread that I was on, and she said, now she was sort of more logical than he was. First of all, she said, my husband's not an angry guy. And to me, he was being angry, whether his wife wanted to admit that or not. And then she said there are cases where perhaps a girl was dating a guy and it was a bad relationship. It was a really bad relationship. Maybe she didn't say this, but maybe there was a spousal abuse or something like that. And then the woman is completely turned off by guys, and she meets a woman. And she likes the woman. And in all reality, if she likes the woman, maybe it was just a friendship that started initially. And then it was a caring situation and a loving relationship. But maybe it wasn't biologically driven. Maybe it was just a love of that individual person where they wanted to be bonded together. And that's what took place. Maybe it wasn't biological. So the wife was a little bit more interesting, a little more logical than the husband was. He should have probably calmed down before he posted that and before he got engaged with me. So that was interesting. And then, of course, what I'm going to do is I'm interested in what the entire topic was about. So I clicked on the wife's name, and it brought me to her Facebook page. And I read the entire story. So here's what the story was about, and I'll read it without taking the names. And by the way, I was blocked by I was blocked by 3 people because they were intolerant about my conversation and my debate. Now, so far, you're probably with me thinking that, okay, now maybe some people heavily believe that it's 100% biological. But is there any doubt at all? Is there any possibility that some people that are gay are not driven by the 100% biological perspective? Is it at all possible? Is it at all possible? I'm going to read the comments later on. So then I went to the wife's Facebook page, and I read this. Now I'm not going to show it to you. And by the way, I did take the names out of it. There was a mention of the daughter's name. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put my glasses on. Now this is what the entire thread said. And then there were a bunch of comments. Most of the comments were from me and the individual, the father, and then the mother getting involved, and then the son getting involved. The daughter was nowhere to be found, which is probably good, all right? This is what the comment was. The thread started off with, I'm pissed off and heartbroken right now. She is a beautiful girl in a picture in the comments. Now, they did post a picture of the daughter, which doesn't really make a difference, right? It doesn't make a difference what the daughter looks like. Maybe they should have protected her daughter and not posted a picture of their daughter. Probably that would have been a better idea, but they posted a picture of the daughter. In fact, multiple pictures. This is our beautiful and amazing daughter, and they put the name of the daughter, and I'm not putting that out there. And tonight, I had to watch her cry because of the insensitive, hurtful woman. Now, here's the story, okay? We were in a Whole Foods in Valencia, California. Now, if you don't know what a Whole Foods is, it's a grocery store. You go in there, it's like an Albertsons or an Acme or an Alpha Beta or whatever, or Bonds or wherever you go to buy groceries. That's what a Whole Foods is. I don't know if they're spread across the country. I think they are, but in case you didn't know what Whole Foods is, now you know what it is, okay? So we're at Whole Foods in California getting dinner, and this woman starts talking to us while we were waiting to get soup. She starts talking about religion. Now, by the way, talking about religions is a bad way to start off any conversation, but there's people out there that want to convert you, right? And I wish they wouldn't try to convert you. If you've got a religious perspective, kind of keep it to yourself. That's my perspective, because no one is going to like your religion. They're going to like another religion, or they're not going to like religion at all. And then you're going to start off a conversation that could become a little bit more aggravating than you wanted to get involved in, all right? It's a bad way to start off a conversation. So then it goes on. She started talking about religion. My daughter, being a loving person that she is, asked the woman if she could give her a hug. All right, she wanted to hug the woman. For those that have never met my daughter, she is the purest, sweetest, kindest heart, and she is absolutely loves to give hugs. Okay, so that's cool, right? It's a nice daughter, okay? That's cool. I like to hug my dog, all right? After that, a lady gave my daughter, after the lady let my daughter hug her, she said something to the effect of my daughter would get lots of hugs from guys. Now that's kind of not appropriate. You really don't want to say, oh, guess what, your little teenage daughter is going to get hugged by a lot of guys. That's not really an appropriate thing to say, even though it's true. It's probably not appropriate to say that because that's introducing your daughter to the physical contact she's going to get, whether it's in the form of hugs, kissing, whatever. That was kind of something I would have left out of the conversation, but the lady said that. And then after that, the conversation or the post goes on, and my amazing daughter told her, actually, I'm a lesbian. All right, now remember that the lady says she's going to get a lot of hugs from guys. And then the daughter then says, actually, I'm a lesbian. All right, so she's not going to want to get hugged by guys. She's going to want to be with the woman of her choice, okay? And remember that the whole context here was it started off with saying lesbianism or being gay is biological. But now we've moved well beyond that topic, right? Then the lady says, well, that's your choice, but it's a sin. All right, so the lady says this. The lady says, but it's your choice. Now, obviously, the person, the father that was talking about this topic that started out as a subset of this topic says that it's not choice, it's biology. Now, I happen to think that probably the majority, the overwhelming majority is biology. Do we know a percentage? Do we know if it's 99.9%? Do we know if it's 92%? What percentage biology? And I have the perspective that it's not all biology. It could be driven by other factors. It could be driven by peer pressure. It could be driven by a desire to be different. It could be driven by what the mother said, by the fact that maybe the woman was married. It was an abusive relationship, whether it was verbal or physical, to be abused. She now is turned off by men. So she decides to start being with a woman. Or maybe she was hurt and had a close friend that was a woman. And together they shared a common thread, a common bad situation. And they got very friendly with each other. And not due to biology, but just due to the love of another person, even keeping the physical out of it, maybe they were drawn together, which wasn't a biological happening. There might have been a hidden biological persuasion there, but again, is it 100% sure that it's all 100% biological? And okay, so what happened is the father got enraged about the comment. Now, by the way, the lady was inappropriate. Clearly, she was inappropriate from every aspect. All right, but what the lady says is, well, that's your choice. It's a sin. All about being a lesbian. It's your choice. It's a sin. Then the guy says, the husband says this. The husband says this. I went off on that woman and yelled at her that it's not a choice and my daughter is perfect and that she's not a sinner. Now let me say that. This is how I got on this topic more thoroughly. Okay, the lady said that. There was a lot of inappropriate things to say, and then he says he went off with the woman and yelled at her. Now remember, where is he? Where are all these people? Where are they? Where is this taking place? At a Whole Foods grocery store, right? Now, aren't we all sensitive about public safety? I mean, we talk about schools, and then people are getting shot. Kids are getting shot up at schools. You talk about a situation where in a public setting, people are there to buy groceries. They're there to buy groceries, go home, and enjoy the evening, right? And then they got to hear people yelling at the grocery store. What's the first thing they're going to think of? It's a dangerous place to be. They want the yelling to stop, or they want to get out of there, right? If I was in a grocery store and I heard yelling, my immediate adrenaline would start pumping, and I'd be starting to worry about, well, am I safe here? Is there going to be a fight? Is there going to be bloodshed? Should I get out of here? Should I leave my groceries in the shopping cart, get out and come back an hour later? What should I do? Should I go out, wait in the parking lot to see if policemen come, to see if there's a shootout? And as soon as I see the police come, maybe I better start my car and get out of there, right? That's the first thing you're going to think is your initial safety. So I made a point to the guy, and I said, you know what? This was sort of inappropriate. And then he started coming back at me and saying, Dave, you wouldn't defend your daughter? He said, you probably don't have any kids, so how could you even be knowledgeable about how you would react? And I said, I think this is the way I would react. I would probably be sarcastic. I would be rude to the lady, but I wouldn't start yelling at her and start a drama in the supermarket for everyone to get in a state of fright and fear because they're in a public place, and everyone knows now every place you go to You have to be fearful that a situation's not going to happen in that facility, that public facility that you're in. So that was the only point I was trying to make 2 points. One, that is it truly 100% biological? I was trying to bring up a factual discussion to understand his perspective and for him to understand my perspective. Then we got into the real meat of the hostility and the anger that started this thread off, where he's highly agitated and angry at this woman, and he starts yelling at her in the supermarket. Now, by the way, what I deem here is kind of a quick escalation. You remember about 2 months ago, I did a show where a woman was driving her car with a burnout headlight. She was 65 years old. The policeman comes up to her. He was polite at the beginning, and then she said she didn't want to. The guy gives her a ticket for $80, and she admits that she's had the light broken in her back of her car for like 6 months, and she doesn't want the ticket. She says, "Aren't you going to give me a warning?" The policeman says, "Well, it's been 6 months since you've had it, so you're going to get the ticket." And then she says, "Well, I'm not going to sign the ticket." The next escalation point from the policeman is to get out of the car. You are under arrest. That was the next escalation. Where I said, when I did the discussion about this, I said the next escalation should have been for the policeman to kind of warn her and say, "Look, if you don't sign the ticket, ma'am, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave the vehicle, because defiance of signing the ticket means you've got to be arrested. You've got to be held accountable for not only having the burnout headlight for not 1 day but for 6 months, and not be willing to sign the ticket. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the vehicle, and you will be under arrest at that point. Do you want to sign the ticket?" So that was my point of that discussion. My point of this discussion is the lady was inappropriate, but then to immediately jump to and he puts the wording in here. I didn't make this wording up. He puts the wording in here after she says, "Well, that's your choice, but it's a sin." Then he goes, the next sentence is, "I went off on that woman and yelled at her." So he escalated it rapidly, extremely rapidly, and it gets worse. And yelled at her, "That's not a choice," and then, "My daughter is perfect and not a sinner." And then, "We love and support her." Okay, so your daughter is perfect, but everyone thinks their child is perfect, right? I happen to think our dog is perfect. No one's perfect. There is no perfect being on the planet. I doubt that even if there is a God, I doubt that he's perfect, all right? I said that. So now, there's no perfect being, and whether it's a sin or not, this all got brought up by this religious person who is reading the Bible word for word and says that it's a sin, and I don't read the Bible word for word. In fact, I don't even read the Bible, and in fact, I'm even skeptical about there being a God. I have no clue on what the reality is, and I doubt that many people really, in their heart of hearts, really know what the reality is. There's a faith and there's a belief. And why is there a faith and a belief? I think because people want to put the fear in God in you so you live a better moral life and don't start killing each other. Sometimes I think that's the purpose of religion, is this fear factor, so you don't start killing each other and you're held to some accountability by the guy above, right? All right, so then, okay, so now we got to the point where and we love and support her. Then our awesome son, okay, so now we're interacting with another character. Then our awesome son stood up for his sister and yelled at the woman. Another person yelling in a public facility, causing a scene, causing a drama, putting fear into the rest of the people in the store as to what's going on. Is there going to be a fight? Is there going to be a fist fight? Is there going to be a gunfight? Did someone come into the Whole Foods with a gun? And they're going to start shooting the place up, and maybe I'm going to get shot, right? Because now we heard the mother yell. Or did we hear the mother or father? I guess it was the father that yelled. Or no, this was in the wife's thread. So I'm assuming that the wife was the one that was yelling. And then after that, our awesome son stood up for his sister and yelled at the woman. And he says it's called biology. It's not a choice. All right, so is that an opinion or is that a fact? I have no idea. I don't research this to really figure out if there's a scientific, valid, absolute certainty that being gay is 100% biological. Is there really proof to that nature? Is there really? I don't know. If there is, you got to tell me. You can tell me in the thread if you like. All right, so the bottom line, let's see. So the son is now the second person yelling in the store. Okay, so we got two people yelling in the store, and they use the word yelling, by the way. I'm not fabricating that. They weren't whispering it. They weren't having a calm conversation. They weren't having a debate. They weren't having a discussion. There was yelling in the supermarket, right? So I said to the father, I said, it's inappropriate. I said, now, if you want to be sarcastic to her or you want to say something to her, then okay. But you started a confrontation that included yelling and an escalation in a public place. I said, to be honest, if I was there, I would have wanted you out, your family out, and the woman out of the store. All right, I would have wanted everyone to leave and get out of there so I could shop along with fellow shoppers, and we could shop, buy our groceries, and get the hell out of there instead of having to put up with the yelling here, not knowing what escalation point it's going to escalate to. All right, so that's what I said. I'll read the rest, okay? Let's see. The horrible woman made my beautiful girl cry. I talked to the store manager, but unfortunately she could not kick the woman out of the store due to freedom of speech. All right, I'm assuming that, now no one said in this thread that the woman that started this whole thing out, this religious fanatic, if you want to call her that, talking about choice and that it's a sin to be gay. All right, you can make your own interpretation on that. Like I said, I'm not making this a religious program. I'm not going that route. But they wanted the woman kicked out. You know, to be honest with you, if the woman said that and she wasn't yelling, yet you and your son were yelling, I would have wanted you guys out of the store and the woman not to be thrown out because she wasn't yelling. She was a little bit too upfront with her religious beliefs. But if she wasn't yelling and you were yelling, you know who gets thrown out? The people yelling. That's who gets thrown out. And then what takes place? The manager was very kind and walked around the store to make sure the woman didn't give us any more trouble. I don't know, was the woman constantly bugging them? They don't say that. They don't say that the woman then was kind of stalking us or following us around the store to convert our daughter into being straight and realizing that it's a choice, make the choice not to be gay. They don't say that. They don't make that commentary. And by the way, the 100 or so posts the guy makes after that didn't give me that frame of, he didn't say that at all. So I wish I could have erased the whole situation like it never happened. I wish I could protect our beautiful girl for the rest of our lives. By the way, you can't protect anyone for the rest of your life. So come on. Maybe what should have taken place is that there be maybe a sarcasm to the woman that started all this religious stuff. Be sarcastic to her, be rude to her, walk away, and then your daughter's going to learn that, okay, your daughter's going to learn some tolerance for people that don't agree with her lifestyle, right? Instead of a yelling from the parents and her brother to bring it up to the next escalated level. Maybe the mature thing to do in that situation would be to be rude, sarcastic to the woman, walk away, and then tell your daughter afterwards, maybe have a conversation with her and say, you know what? Your lifestyle is accepted by us. Your lifestyle is accepted by the majority of people in the entire country. I'm not going to go global with this. I have no idea what the globe thinks of people being gay. I'm talking about America. And there's pockets of America that are bigots and prejudiced against gay people. There are that segment of relics out there, okay? There's a segment of relics who still think that way. There's a segment of relics that are racist. There's a segment of relics that are politically on each side of the spectrum instead of being more interested in trying to find common ground amongst themselves. So there's a lot of problems out there. And these people escalated the problem from my point of view. They were defending their daughter, but they escalated to a level that didn't have to be escalated. Be sarcastic, be rude. When you're alone with your daughter, tell her, educate her, and say, you know what, there's a percentage of the population that's not going to agree with your lifestyle. You met one this evening. You met her, you saw how we dealt with it. We hope that you deal with it in an adult, professional way, because you're going to have to deal with this for the rest of your life until there is no racism, until there's no bigotry. But that's not going to happen in our lifetime, and it's not going to happen in your lifetime, so you got to learn how to deal with it. When they dealt with it inappropriately, at least I think so. So let's see, what else? I think that was it does conclude here. I wish I could protect our beautiful girl for the rest of her life from heartless, cruel people like that idiots. All I can do is love and support her and let her know how amazing, wonderful, and special she is. So like I said, what happened is it got more and more hostile from their perspective, and they started cursing at me. And you know what? I told them, I said, this is sort of a debate. You have a perspective. I'm trying to give my perspective to a situation I think should have been handled a little more of an adult fashion. Your parents, you got a child. Don't you think you should have probably not escalated it that quickly? And by the way, if you're going to escalate, if you're going to start yelling at someone in the store, you have no idea what that person's going to do to your escalation. Are they going to escalate it beyond you? And you have no idea. That woman could have been a religious nut to the degree that she could have been carrying a firearm. And she would have said, you know, I kill all people that don't believe in my religious perspective, my religious views. So you're dead in the supermarket. Why? Because instead of being sarcastic and rude, you escalated it to an argumentative yelling style, which was probably not the safest thing to do in a public setting. And this person I could not get that concept into either the mother, the father, or the son's mind. They were like blocked with hatred. And you know, it shouldn't be this way. And that's my whole perspective. And what happened at the end, this is what happened too. Like I said, they started yelling at me. They started cursing at me. And then the father said that I was stalking his wife. And I wasn't stalking her. She was on the initial thread where I was having a discussion about whether being gay is a biological 100% certainty, or if there's other aspects to be considered, potential aspects to be considered. And then what happened, and I'm scratching my head here because I'm confused, but then what happened is the mother came in there after I said that the father was hostile and angry, and why are you so angry? Why are you so mad at me? Why are you so angry? What's your perspective here? What's the point? And then his wife comes in and she's talking. And of course I'm going to try to figure out what the whole situation is. So when his wife comes on, I decided, you know what, I'm going to click on the hyperlink, go to her Facebook page, and then I found out the whole story. And then you know what I get told towards the end of the conversation? I get told that I'm stalking his wife. And I said, you know what, I have no personal interest in you. I have no personal interest in your wife. I have no personal interest in your son or daughter. I'm interested in the topic. I'm interested in what you want to say about this topic to me. And and so then I got told again, no, you're stalking my wife. And I said, are you insane? This is all about the topic. It has nothing to do with the personality. It has everything to do with the sentences that we're typing in here. And I call this a debate. You're calling it, this is an emotional subject to you. I said, can you pull emotional out of it for a little while and debate the topic? Debate on if you think it's a biological thing that your daughter is gay. I want to know what statistic you have to validate that it's 100% certainty, that it's 100% biological. And you can prove me wrong. If it is, maybe I'll look up the statistic and I'll figure it out. But give me the statistic on that and prove your argument to me, or not an argument, a debate again. And then it got all off on this tangent where I said, you know what, it was inappropriate where you did it. There's a time and place for everything. And you know, of course I got blocked by all three of them. All three of them blocked me. So here, my opening sentence was the anger in the gay defending community. You know, it is interesting that I would think, and I would hope, and I suspect that most people in the United States are tolerant. Now, they're politically intolerant because you get on the thread, you see people angry about politics. It's getting worse and worse and worse. It's going to get worse in the weeks to come because now we got some more news and we got threats of impeachment, so it's going to get more and more hostile on that front. That political front is going to get escalated out of control. It's been out of control since the election. It's been out of control since day one. All right, it's been out of control. But here you got, I believe that most people in the United States, most people, not all, not 100%, I don't know what the percentage is, are tolerant of the gay community. Most people are tolerant. Or if they're not tolerant, at least they won't say anything outright. They'll be inwardly bigotry, but they won't express their bigotry to anyone. They'll be closed about it. They'll be hidden about it. They'll be in the closet about their bigotry, all right? So you got mostly silence or you got acceptance. That's what you mostly have with the outside relics, who I said, who are intolerant and loud and noisy about it. Then you got, I would say that the gay community is up in arms about anyone that is bigoted towards them, and they bring that to an escalated level, just like last night that I saw. It's almost interesting that the people that are intolerant of the gay community is completely intolerant of them as well. So it's almost like a balance of intolerance, isn't it? Or am I overstating the fact? Let me read some of the comments, and hopefully this won't get erased from Facebook, because this was a conversation I had, and this had nothing to do with hate. It had everything to do with improper escalation, I believe. So let's see if any of the comments make any sense. And I don't think there's going to be a whole lot, because most people don't want to comment on this type of topic. But let's see if anyone has said anything. It's funny, there's 16 comments, and I can't see any of the comments. I wonder if the comments were blocked already. I wonder if Facebook has thrown this show out already, because I can't see any of the comments. Isn't that amazing? Now maybe if I get on my cell phone, I can read them. Okay, suddenly they appeared. Oh. Let's see if anyone has said anything. What is it with this cell phone? All right, so I had to shut that off. So welcome to Sparky well, let's see. I'll scroll up and see who's joined the show. First of all, I see when you scroll up in Facebook, you can't see the top comment. It's like kind of, I'm going to answer calls after I read the comments, guys. All right. Plus, my cell phone is running out of battery power, so I may not be able to answer any of the cell calls. Good to see Ken. Good to see John. Good to see Mo. Good to see Glenn. Glenn says the music is hiccuping. At the start of the program, the music was hiccuping. John says call some more recruiters. He likes the comedy aspect of the show. Good timing. I'm taking my lunch hour. Okay, so Glenn was able to join because he's enjoying his lunch hour. Let's see. Okay, so now let's see. Then Brian joined. Glenn joined, by the way. If I ignored Glenn, I didn't mean to ignore anyone. Mike joined. Sandy joined. Okay, so Mike says hello to me. I want to get to the meet. They are in New York City. Well, these people are from California, if that's what we're getting to. Glenn says, I have to agree with you, Dave. I'm quite certain that a small percentage of homosexuals' tendencies are psychological rather than biological. A small percentage. So I kind of agree with that. Now, I don't know the statistic at all. I'm not quoting from any statistical base. Glenn sort of agrees with me that most people that are identifying themselves as gay are probably gay due to biology. But there are a percentage of people that probably aren't. Is that inaccurate? Does anyone believe that that's inaccurate? For the exact same reason you mentioned. Okay, massive trauma involving the opposite sex, etc. Okay, I have no idea if it's like 0.01, 1%, or even as high as 5%. Okay, so we're in agreement on that. I don't know what the percentage is, but I can say with some degree of probable accuracy that it's not 100%. That's how this whole thing started and escalated from there, is that the father could not believe at all that there is any 0.1%, 0.01%. Everyone that is gay because they're biologically gay. And there is no choice, or there is no other circumstance which has potentially made them turn their life to being a gay person. All right, let's see. What else is... John says Whole Foods is owned by Amazon. I didn't know that. Good to see Sparky. Good to see Julie here. Good to see Teresa. John says, as a former supermarket manager, I would have separated and brought them to separate registers to check out, to make sure that they checked out and left. Right? Like I said, I would have wanted them, but I don't know. See, this is the way society is now. Can you actually ask people to leave a store? Can you do that, or are you going to get sued for that? That's the problem we're in now. We're in all sorts of problems these days. All sorts of problems due to people being offended and people's rights being taken away. If people are yelling in the store and they're yelling and disturbing the people, can you escort them out of the store? Or as soon as you escort them out of the store, is there going to be a lawsuit to the store that you were removed from the store and you were hurt as you were removed from the store? Whether you were hurt emotionally or physically, you were hurt. And then there's going to be a lawyer because you see him on TV all day. You see him on TV, and that person that got escorted out of the store because they were yelling, they're going to bring questionable judgment on how loud the yell was. They're going to contact that lawyer they're going to see on TV, and they're going to bring that lawyer to the store, and then there's going to be a lawsuit. So can you really do that? Can you do that in 2019? I don't think you could have done it in 2015. Let's see. Good to see Matthew. Good to see Ed. Good to see Suzanne. You guys missed most of the topic today. Maybe I'm going to revisit this topic depending on the interest. I'll probably post this on YouTube. I better grab it off Facebook right now because I'm sure someone's going to consider my topic of this day to be considered hate speech, right? Everyone's hateful of one another. Everyone's offended. I'm sure somebody is going to be offended about what I talked about today, even though I said the anger was directed towards me. I was not angry at these person. I'm giving what took place, leaving the names out. I didn't mention any names whatsoever. I only mentioned the situation. I did read the exact words of the post, leaving the name out, but you have to realize when you're on, so by the way, this guy was saying, you know, why are you commenting about all this? And I said, I'm commenting about it because it's an interesting topic. I'm interested in your perspective. I'm interested in what you feel on this, why you feel so strongly. And I said it's on social media. If you don't want things on social media, and don't comment on social media, don't make a comment at all. Otherwise, people are going to respond to your comment and your post and your threads. If you don't like it, you know what? There's a good thing to do is to not turn you on your computer and start typing in what you experienced. If you want it to not be addressed in a public format, then keep it out of the public format. See, John says, can you ask them to leave if they are disturbing violence or threat of violence? I'm not sure. Oh, well, there wasn't a question. John says, you can ask them to leave. You can ask them to leave. All right, so here's something. You know, you have to take every single sentence today and decide if there's a law being violated by every sentence. So John says here, you can ask them to leave if they are a disturbance, violence, or a threat of violence. You can ask them to leave. How about if they refuse to leave? What happens then? John says you can ask them to leave. You can ask them to leave, although can you really ask them to leave? But John's saying you can ask them to leave. What happens if they refuse to leave? What happens then? Then you call up what? The store manager, and John was the store manager. The store manager comes over and then asks them to leave again, and they refuse to leave, and then they're yelling at the store manager. Then what's the next escalation point? You call the police. How long is it going to take the police to get there? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 40 minutes, 30 minutes? We don't know. So during that 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, what's going to happen then? How's the escalation going to pursue from then? What's going to happen? And then what happens is going to be legally in someone's mind. There's going to be that person that got asked to leave. Now the police are called. So now the person feels threatened by not only you, the store manager, and the threat of police coming. So they may leave the store, call up the lawyer and say, you know, I was in the supermarket. Someone was yelling at me, or I was yelling. They're not going to probably, and they got asked to leave. They didn't leave. The police were called. I feel like my rights were violated. I need you on my side as my lawyer to bring them to court and sue the hell out of Whole Foods. This is the way United States has become. This is the exact way that we have intolerance, people offended. It's a total nightmare. What does John say? These people are angry because they don't fully believe in what they say and want to shut it down before they got any doubts. Interesting perspective. I didn't think about that at all. Or put doubts in their daughter's mind. Because you have to remember, the daughter seems like, when I looked at the pictures, by the way, I didn't say this. The daughter seems like she's about 9 to 13 years old. Between 9 and 13, and she's already identified herself as gay. Now, you can identify yourself as being gay at any age, I'm sure, right? And if I say, how certain are you of your gay perception to be at the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, or 13? How sure are you? And there's someone who's going to say, absolutely, people can be sure they're gay at the age of 5. I don't know. I'm not trying to figure that out even. But maybe maybe the parents were well aware that the child at that point is could be influenced by the woman saying it's a choice. And the parents don't want to confuse their daughter by the daughter thinking, well, am I a bad person? Am I a sinner? Am I gay by choice? So they don't want to have the daughter have any doubts about her sexuality, I guess. So they're shielding her from an uncertainty and a doubting of herself. So that's, the whole thing was a bad situation, like I said. It was an inappropriate situation as it started out, and I believe it was escalated to the max when it should not have been escalated. Everyone there in the store was in some kind of jeopardy. I wasn't at the store to witness it, to hear how loud the yelling was, but the person spoke here, said that they were yelling. They said that their son was yelling. It was inappropriate. I thought that the whole thing should have been dealt with more maturely and better. From both perspectives. From both perspectives. You don't go into a store and start preaching religion because there's people there that won't agree with you, and there's a chance there for escalation and a war, a holy war. It's a chance for a holy war at the store. Why make that attempt? Why preach? If you want to preach, then stand on a corner, as they do in Phoenix. There's some preachers at the corner, the Jehovah's Witnesses, stand at the corner. And they're there, and by the way, they're silent. But they have their display. If you're interested in their religion, then they're anticipating that you'll walk up and you'll start to talk to them about their religion because you're interested in it. They're not actually there at the corner shouting and yelling with a megaphone, preaching. They're out there to display visually what they're all about, and then it's kind of, they're expecting you, if you have an interest, to walk up to them and ask them what it's all about. But you don't go into a supermarket and start preaching. And then when you go start preaching, then there's a possibility that someone's going to get angry at you, and then your life is in jeopardy. And the people yelling, their lives are in jeopardy because they don't know the response that they're going to get from the people preaching to them about religion. And then everyone in the store is in jeopardy because everything's escalated. Everything's hostile at that point. I wanted to make that point. I wanted to make that point to those parents. I didn't make the point. They weren't listening. They were closed-minded, and ultimately they blocked me so they don't have to hear this broadcast right now. But did you find this interesting at all? I have no idea. The phone didn't ring. It did ring once with a block call. Let's see. John says here, I'm curious about this one because I said, how about if they refuse to leave? If they refuse to leave, they will be brought to security. Most of mine were off-duty police and FBI. How about that? FBI in the supermarket. The police then come and take them out of the store. Okay, so if they refuse to leave, they are brought to security. How are you going to get them to security? To get them to security, you have to hope that they go peacefully to security. If they don't go to security peacefully, I guess you have security come to them. And then what happens? Security has to remove them from the place of business where they're making a scene and yelling. They have to physically remove them. That means you got to touch the person if they're not going to come peacefully. You got to touch them and physically move their body from point A to point B. Do you want to touch a person? Do you want to take that legal responsibility to touch the person? And then the person's going to what? Have a video camera on them? Or they're going to video the fact that they were there and they were touched and manipulated and moved from point A to point B. You can see that this is, today in 2019, everything is a disaster. It's a complete and total disaster. It's almost like we better get a technology from Star Trek to be able to beam people out of supermarkets like this and beam them off without touching them. You beam them off so that when you beam them and they re-energize on the platform, they materialize, but no one's touched them. It's almost like we better escalate our technology and our science so we can have a transporter beam them off. John says, we had a group of Christian Chinese who came to the supermarket to preach. Wow, see that? See that? See that? Everyone now has to force their agenda on everybody. And we all have to accept the fact that we're being preached to. When we want to go to a supermarket to buy food, we don't want to be preached at. In fact, it's funny too, when you go to the PetSmart, we go to our PetSmart with our dog, and we donate to charities, we donate to the animal shelters. And when my wife and I die, we're going to donate our estate to animal rescues. That's where we're going to give all of our money to animal rescues. You go to PetSmart, you go to the front, and then they ask you if you want to donate to the charity, whether it be $1 on the little kiosk there, or $3 or $5, or donate food. So they kind of make you feel guilty because you're in the PetSmart and you have a pet, and you're not donating to other pets. It's almost like you're being preached at the PetSmart. And you know, it's you've got to be preached everywhere. You go to a store and then they ask if you want to donate to children rescues and all that, and they make you feel you're almost being preached now at every storefront you go to, where there's the kiosk up there, and they ask you if you want to donate. You leave the supermarket, and there's the people outside the supermarket with a collection jug, trying to collect for the March of Dimes or for the Girl Scouts or something like that. And then you got the Girl Scouts there, and you look guilty if you don't buy Girl Scout cookies, but you don't like Girl Scout cookies. You don't want to buy Girl Scout cookies. You got a daughter who's in the Girl Scouts. There's a whole guilt thing around people being marketed to support. I wish there was none of this. If you want to support and donate, you get online and you donate because you search them out. I don't think you want to be searched out and frisked as you leave the store for how much money you got for the Girl Scouts, how much money you got for children's rescues. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I want to give because I want to give, and I want to find the people I want to give to. I don't want them to be in my face asking me, all right? Actually, this was a very interesting topic, and I'm glad you did this show. I can't call in because I have to listen to the group meeting. Okay, so that's cool. So, you know, I appreciate people that listen to the show. I do shows. Some people criticize this show because I do a variety of topics. Sometimes I'll do a serious topic like this. I'll do a topic that interests me in hopes it'll interest somebody. Then I'll do a show about two people that want to hook up with each other. I had Liz on and who was the guy? I forget. Right? Greg. I had those guys on trying to hook up with each other. So I try to make this show diverse, interesting enough to support anyone who has any interest in life. Because obviously I do. That's all I got for today. I better make sure I get on Facebook and download this before it gets removed from Facebook by anyone who wants to micromanage my topics and decide that this was a hateful topic to even attempt to bring up. And there are those people out there, trust me. And actually, I probably should be thankful that I was blocked by these three people, because if they ever saw this broadcast, you'd be sure as hell that they'd want this broadcast removed. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for joining the show. I'll see you guys, not on Sunday, but who knows? If another interesting topic comes up like this, I'll probably be on Sunday. Who knows? But I like to take off Sunday and go to a jazz club where they got open mic night and check that out. So that's my target goal for Sunday, is not to be, I'm going to take a break from the show on Sunday. But like I said, who knows? See you guys soon.
Do you know the Dave Darren Show? He used to be on terrestrial radio, but he got fired.
Here comes the boss fella now.
Dave Darren.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was on mute, wasn't I? It feels like a conference call. So, again, guys, thanks for joining the show. This was a repeat of this afternoon. So, thanks so much for joining. And you're probably going to watch it probably tomorrow or Sunday or whatever day of the week you tend to turn on videos and watch people do shows like mine. But, you know, it's interesting. And this is one point I like to make is when people do shows like this, like hosts that do shows like this, which I typically don't do news topics, or I don't do topical format. I usually don't do politics. I usually don't do religion. But if I'm looking around and I find something interesting, then you know what? I'll delve in it. I'll mess around with it. I'll see what's going on with it. And I really thought I could express an opinion to this father, mother, and their son, but they wanted to hear nothing about it. You know, it's interesting how closed-minded people can be and how set in their ways they can be. And I'm probably older than them. At least I'm not sure. I mean, if they have a daughter that's like 9 or 10 years old, then I'm probably older than them, unless they had their daughter in an older age. But if you think about it, they're extremely closed-minded. I'm more open-minded than they are, and I'm an older dude, right? But try to open up your minds, expand, try to understand the other person, put yourself in their shoes, if you can do that. And obviously these people couldn't. I was trying to put myself in their shoes, and I really did understand the fact that the woman that was talking to him was a little bit, she should not have perceived or started off the introduction in that way. She chose to do so, and she started off on the wrong foot, but it obviously ended on a much more wrong foot. And that was my only perspective. This show, by the way, is for if you're just watching first time tonight. This show actually airs. I do a show usually on Thursday nights and Sunday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. if you're on the West Coast time zone. East Coast is 3 hours later. It'll be less than that because I'm in Arizona, actually, where we don't change our times. So in the East Coast time zone, it is 10 o'clock. But if you're interested in the show, this Sunday, I'm probably not going to do a show. This Sunday is break time for me. I'm going to go to a jazz and blues gig, and maybe I'll even bring my guitar and mess around because I'm a musician as well. So I think I'm going to be doing that this Sunday, so it's going to be time off. Although you never know if I find a topic is interesting as this one. I felt this was an interesting topic that I had commentary on. I wanted to voice my opinion, even though my opinion didn't want to be heard. I figured I would do it anyway. But if I find something interesting on Sunday, who knows? Maybe I'll come on early, or maybe I'll skip the gig and just delay it till the following week. But I would like to go out and enjoy a Sunday night. And we'll see what happens. I'll be back on. Who knows? People think I got a loud mouth. People think I should do this show 5 nights a week, but it's hard for me to conform to that schedule. So that's why I don't do it. I really wish I could. I wish I could do this full time. It'd be a blast to do it full time, but I don't really have enough of a professional persona to do that, and I don't really have enough listeners to demand me to do it every 5 nights a week. So that's why I haven't done it. But let me see. I know some of you guys joined. I appreciate you guys joining. That was Brig that joined. Mary Adams joined. Thanks, Mary Adams, for joining the show. And like I said, I don't have a whole lot of viewers here, and that's fine. I wish I had more. It'd be more fun to... Brig says, thanks, Dave. Your commentary was very interesting. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. And I don't really rehearse the show, by the way, which is another thing. If you come on the show as a guest, and I no longer really have a lot of guests coming on the show because I don't have enough listeners to seduce some great guests to come on. But if you're a listener and you want to be a guest and call in, then the call-in line is actually becoming the guest line. And it's also the heckler's line a lot of times. But if you want to come on as a guest, then please do let me know what you want to talk about. Any format is okay. You can probably realize that I cover any topic. If you didn't realize that, I do cover absolutely any topic. At one point I said I don't do politics, but you know what? If you want to do politics, we'll do politics, and we'll have at it with that. So that's all I got for tonight. I will see you whenever I see you. Maybe Sunday. If not, definitely next Thursday at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. I always make sure I do the Thursday show. I usually make sure I always do the Sunday show with the exception of this Sunday. But thanks, guys, for joining the show. And have a great weekend. If I don't see you till next Thursday, have a great one, okay? Cheers, and go out and check out some music, because that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll talk to you guys later. Ciao.
Do you know the Dave Darren Show? He used to be on terrestrial radio, but he got fired.
Here comes the boss fella now.
Dave Darren.